Hello everyone, welcome to the channel. It's Rad. Uh, and We are having already Mercury retrograde. It went retrograde at 10 to 2 a.m. This morning for Eastern Standard Time. So we do having an effect for all day, for all full day now, and is gonna run a retrograde to the 20th of March in 3:33 p.m. It goes direct. So we do have a 24 days as per, no, 22 days as per my estimation here of its energy. The retrograde is in Pisces. So the planet Mercury is going to stay in Pisces for quite some time. And what we're going to check into tonight is the influence of that energy that Mercury retrograde is sending to us. And the cards I pulled on it, which is going to be the collective reading, are as follows. Now, the first one, that will be Three of Wands. The second one is Four of Swords. And the third one, that will be the Nine of Pentacles. If you're curious for these about these cards and you want to examine them yourself, you can use the thumbnail that I have on the video. So, what the energy is going to be all about is more of a research than anything else, and this is going to be a research directed towards improvement. Long story short, the undertakings we are leading into Mercury retrograde, we are going to start feeling as already established patterns, meaning that, or at least to me, would mean that I am getting the hang of them. Okay, and I just am feeling ready for something bigger, something better, if you will, something more. And throughout the next 22 days, the circumstances that Mercury retrograde is sending to us will be, I was about to say dates, not dates, but more like introductions with other people, which are going to have a more object, I don't want to say better view, it's more like more objective view on the subject of, for example, us improving the job we are working on, or improving the relationship we're having, or simply improving the friendship acquaintances. And through that objective opinion, which by the way is going to be very genuine, I'm sorry, is going to contain a lot of candor. And to top it all off, the people that we are going to be introduced to, or are going to be a part of this discussion, are going to happen to be a very loyal companions. So there is going to be no reason for them to basically lie us about something. I was searching for another word. Hold on a second. Deceive us, to deceive us about a certain information, or about their opinion. And by the way, through these research, there is going to be a lot of further problems that are to be spot on by us, and thus that is up to our decision. But we're going to have the option to take a precautionary measures, and therefore make our time easier moving forward with the improvement and with the growth. The only issue is that Nine of Pentacles, that is dignifying Three of Swords. The method I use, it's elemental dignity. So or elemental dignities, so these two cards, and they do represent that we are not gonna or the improvement, there is going to be growth, there is going to be improvement, but we are going to obtain a bit of more optimistic perspective on what that is going to be, and therefore it will carry on a bit of a disappointment reaching the end goal or the end result, seeing that it isn't as big of a leap as we have expected, it isn't as big of a hit as we have expected, and that may make us a bit disappointing, but is going to be an improvement nonetheless. And if you want to look at it from the bright side, as it's not going to be as big as we have expected, it's not going to be as important as as expected, and therefore if we screw up somewhere along the way, it's not going to be a colossal miss. Hello Yasmin, welcome to the stream. So that was the collective reading. Now there are going to be 12 readings just like this one, and they are going to cover the 12 star signs. I'm going to run down the ecliptic, meaning that I'm going to start with Aries and I'm going to end up with Pisces. And bear in mind that these are going to be generalized readings, therefore you will have to align them to your situation that you are going through right now, so you can obtain a personal perspective on what that energy sent by Mercury retrograde is gonna provoke for you, and is going to and how it's going to manifest for you. But if you want to do, if you want me to do that for you, or you just have a specific question, you do have a specific situation, you can go to my website, which link you can find in the description down below, and there on the very front page you can see full list of my services, also their pricing. And if you do enjoy the show and you do wish to support it, you can do so using Super Chat or a PayPal. The PayPal link you can also find in the description down below. And anyone who donates is going to have a reading at the end of the stream that is going to be personalized reading. And if your donation carries no inquiry, the reading is going to be how Mercury retrograde is going to affect you personally. So starting up with the first star sign, which is going to be Aries, you can keep up what star sign I'm reading for through the illustration and the glyph that it is displayed right there. And Yasmin, thank you for the 20 US dollars. Thank you, Yasmin. You're already into the list. So moving on with Aries. These are the cards for Aries. So we do have the Devil, Queen of Pentacles, and Ace of Pentacles. And with these cards, I do have to warn you, because they do seem too good to be true. So what we have here is the Devil with the Queen of Pentacles. These two, they do represent a person that can offer you anything you need, right? Whatever you need, it's gonna come around through that individual. That is someone that you already know, but you have no clue currently about the options they can provide for you, and as well about the possibility, yeah, but the potential that your relationship with them, your alliance with them, your connection or your partnership with them can produce. And in fact, it can produce everything that your heart desires right now in your current given situation. And this partnership, I'm going to call it a partnership, can provide an opportunity like none other for you to accomplish and further your life purpose and your goal. This is going to be exactly, or Mercury retrograde is going to present you with exactly what you need to further your goal. And if you do need money, for example, this person will have an option for you to provide you with a quite lucrative, say, business maneuvers, jobs, clients as well. If your goal is a family, or if it is a love, then that person can provide you with options for a harmoniously flowing relationships. So bottom line is that whatever your soul yearns right now, Mercury retrograde manifesting through another individual will have for you an options to fulfill those yearnings, to fulfill your needs. And the only thing that you need to be careful about is how exactly you do apply that energy, because the devil turns evil when, one thinks themselves gods and are start toying and playing around with other people's faith. So the only thing that you should be concerned about, it is your own faith using that very, very potent energy. Hello, Mohit. Welcome to the stream. Next one, that will be Taurus. Those are cards for Taurus. So we do have the Moon, Five of Cups, and Judgment. Mohit. Hello, News Devon. Welcome to the stream. Mohit, personal readings are done only to patrons. Or you can go for a private reading if you want to. The website where you can see all of my services is into the description of the live stream. That will be a very confusing manifestation of the Mercury retrograde. So these are the cards again. So we do have the Moon, Five of Cups, and Judgment. The interesting part, it is the Judgment and the Moon card, but I'm going to start with the Five of Cups and the Moon card. These two represents that throughout the next 22 days, a decision which you are regret taking. That is a decision you have already made, that you are regret making, under the premise that you could have played your cards better. It's going to turn out that no, you couldn't. So you made the best decision given the situation you were in and given the information you had. And while it led you to some quite disappointing circumstances and even, you know, a situations where you're feeling on the losing side, these disappointments and losses are going to become very clear that they are partial ones. These are losses you can catch up with, or disappointments you're not going to remember 6 months from now. And so you will start, how can I put it towards, you will have no doubt based on these revelations that you are going toward the right direction. The more interesting part here where it comes, it is the Judgment with the Moon card. So these are the two cards. That elemental dignity, it does represent obscurity. So there are going to be a lot of important details and circumstances which Mercury retrograde is going to hide from you. In other words, things are going to start happening and you wouldn't be able to put your finger on what is causing them. People may stop talking with you, or may start calling you and seeking your attention, and you wouldn't be able to say why that individual is not it's not producing, but it's not showing any interest in you while they were showing an interest in you a couple of days ago, or why that individual is now want to talk with you while they didn't want to hear from you a few days ago, and so on and so forth. And everything that is going on, it has its application into the future. And while this obscurity is going to make you feel very uncertain and it's going to make you feel emotionally insecure about not just only your future, but also about the current situation, it is important to have trust in, if you will, the universe or whatever you believe in, whether God or, you know, whether the higher power, and just trust the process, because you have made the right call, and now that call is leading you to a destination you are meant to be at, or a person that you are meant to be at. So the hard part is already done. Now you just have to go with the flow. Okay, next, Gemini. News Devon, thank you for the for the £5. Thank you, News Devon. Let me put you into the list. All right. So these are your cards. We do have a Ace of Pentacles, Death, and Temperance. These three. From this element of dignity here, the Ace of Pentacles and the Death card, it does represent that everything unnecessary through Mercury Retrograde application and manifestation is going to either take the bench or simply is going to drop off your table, and you're not going to think twice about it. And the only thing that you are going to have eyes for, patience for, and determinations for are the stuff in your life that simply can't produce. The relationships you can feel happy with, the job that can provide and that can pay bills, and so on and so forth. So that is going to be a transit of Mercury that is going to make you less generous, for lack of a better word here, and more focused on your own personal well-being, rather than kind of like wasting and leaking your energies for stuff that simply does not pay and does not contribute. And this state is going to make you taste content and a personal sense of fulfillment, which is not going to be faced very well by those around you. We do have these couple of cards here, that other element of dignity, which is Ace of Pentacles with Temperance. So these two cards combined represents the opinion of the people around you based on your state and status to take care of yourself. They're not going to be happy about it, and they're going to try to present like you are very extreme into, I don't know how to put it to words. The word isn't selfish, it's like very extreme into holding on to your own personal values, and that you aren't respecting, you know, their involvement and contribution in your situations. Like your partner is going to be disgruntled that you are looking only your side of the deal and are not concerned with what they are getting out of it. Okay, so that is what's going to be the state of interactions and the state of relationships. And what you need to know is that throughout the next 22 days, you won't be able to satisfy everyone, right? And these partnerships, they are moving forward as a entity, and therefore, if you are well in them, then the partners which you are associating with in them are going to be well as well. So the best thing you can do here, Gemini, is just kind of like not pay attention to the chastity or to the chastising process which these people are going to throw you away. Not chastity, but chastising process. or their angry faces if you prefer. Okay, next, that will be Cancer. These are the Cancer's cards. Ace of Cups, Seven of Pentacles, Page of Swords. What I like about the energy of Mercury retrograde for you is Ace of Cups with Seven of Pentacles. It does represent that the justice will be restored in term of investment and in term of the flow of giving and taking, and is going to be restored in the areas where you have been robbed and you have been deprived, like where you have invested a lot and you haven't get what you have agreed upon. For example, you have hired for a job, but you haven't been paid yet, okay? Or someone made injustice towards you by taking things from you and not repaying back or not returning them back. And Mercury retrograde, as per these cards, is going to restore that, and you're going to get what you have been owed. And that is going to make you feel quite happy. But then the vultures are going to start kind of like roaming around you. People are going to smell that you are now getting stuff around, and most likely you're going to be asked for money. There are going to be people that comes from this elemental dignity here, Ace of Cups with the Page of Swords, that are individuals, people, maybe your children, maybe friends, you know, maybe your spouse or a family member, seeing that now you are acquiring stuff, you are acquiring resources, and they're going to have their own ideas how to use these resources. No different than, for example, your children seeing that you are having a better lifestyle and they start asking for gaming consoles, better shoes, you know, better clothes or more expensive clothes and whatnot, and getting angry and getting mad when you simply decline them. So you gotta be prepared for these aggravating encounters, or having to say no to people that feel entitled to your own, you know, well-being, and to take from your own well-being. So yeah, that is going to be a transit where you will need to learn how to say no to these people. Leo. These are your cards. We have just Judgment, Ace of Pentacles, and Seven of Cups. So these two are actually the bigger influence, that elemental dignity, and it represents that throughout the next 22 days, you will recognize the real possibilities. What I mean, it is that, think of it that way. Right now, you do have hopes for a lot of stuff, for example, and by the end of these 22 days, you are not going to have hopes for anything, because you are going to have a real perspective on what is going to work and what will not work. Hope is not going to be involved anymore. And according to them, because it manifests through the judgment card, you should be quite happy. I mean, at that point, you should feel quite happy about what your perspectives are and what your odds are. And everything starts with that elemental dignity, judgment and Ace of Pentacles, the recognition that they can speak about two things. The recognition that you can either do better, or the recognition that you aren't handling the best thing you can. For example, you are having a job, and in the next 22 days you recognize that that's not the best job you can have, and kind of like reorientating yourself toward a job that can pay better and that can use you better and that you can feel better fulfilled. This is like fixing a compromise. The areas in your life that you have been living in on a compromise right now are going to be fixed, or at least you are going to recognize how you can fix that compromise, and hoping that things are going to work out on their own is going to vaporize that kind of hope, because you're going to handle it yourself. You're going to know the recipe. You will figure out the recipe how to fix that compromise, and it's going to take a lot of work in the future, but alas, it's going to be very, very possible for you. Next, that will be Virgo. These are Virgo's cards: Nine of Cups, Justice, and Queen of Wands. This is what I'm going to talk about first: Nine of Cups and Queen of Wands. These two, that elemental dignity. So that is a person that you're not gonna like from the start, right? From the very beginning, from the first word they say to you, because they will be hubris. They will be very proud of themselves. Usually it has a coverage, that pride do has a coverage, but it's quite displaced, at least currently, the worst part, because it manifests through the Nine of Cups. That will be someone you will have to rely on or depend on, like a new supervisor, a new boss, or you being assigned under someone. Because in these 22 days, that individual is going to schedule, for example, your work, is going to schedule your activities in a certain department, and is going to this process is going to make you have a revelation to recognize that, doesn't matter how much diplomas you do have, doesn't matter how much you have been in a certain, say, area or a field and accumulate knowledge and experience, you still can suck, because they will do. They are gonna make the job, for example, as less fun as it can be and as less efficient as it can be. In fact, there is a very big chance to screw stuff around. And that can apply for dating as well. Imagine that situation: you get introduced to really handsome man or a handsome woman, depending on your preferences, and kind of like you hit a 2 dates a couple of dates and you realize that, you know, things actually go deeper than skin, right? Because aside the outer look, the shell from within, they are kind of empty. And all that is going to happen through this elemental dignity. We do have Nine of Cups with Justice, and that represents the inadequate decisions they're going to take, and also the unnecessary activities, tasks, and responsibilities they're going to throw your way. Stuff that are completely needless, clogging your time, clogging your capabilities, and achieving exactly nothing. And this is what's going to make the process as less fun as possible, as annoying as possible, and sluggish was the word that I was searching for, because a really well-oiled machine will be clogged in the next 20 days for you, and hopefully this individual is not going to stay around for much longer than these 22 days. Next one, that will be Libra. These are Libra's cards. So we do have Judgment, Five of Pentacles, and Queen of Pentacles. A lot of Judgment cards tonight. Right, so this is about fixing partnership through the Mercury retrograde, or clearing out misunderstandings. So there is a person or an individual, and an individual, of course. For example, colleague of yours, from someone in your social circle that you can be friends with, or you can be partners with, you can be lovers with, for example, but kind of like you have started on the wrong foot, and both of you currently don't mind about it. It's like, you know, you don't recognize the usefulness they can have in your life, they don't recognize it as well, and you are okay because you do not kind of like have in mind how far you can go together. But in the next 22 days, this potential, for lack of better words, is going to come to mind. You both are going to start recognizing it, and also you both are going to start recognizing it, what is going to take, because it will have a price, if I can call it that way, because there is a slight incompatibility with the lifestyles you are leading. Okay, and the next 22 days is going to be all about figuring out how to align the lifestyles so you can work together, or you can be together, or you can talk and have fun together, either of the two. And once you align, your frequencies align, this is going to be one of the better choices you have taken recently, if not in your lifetime. That will happen to be extremely loyal companion, lover, friend, co-worker, or whatever that person is for you, and is also going to fit very, very well with your life, in a way that together you can accomplish and achieve so much more. So yeah, it's an unfound potential in between you and someone you have either recently met, okay, or you have kept quite far away from your inner circle, but now they will become an essential part of your inner circle. Right, next, Scorpio. These are Scorpio's cards. Six of Swords, the Emperor, and Three of Cups. Give me a minute. That Emperor and Six of Swords, the elemental dignity. It's an act under pressure. There is going to be a lot riding on your shoulders, and a lot depending on a particular move. This is not about cumulative actions. That is about a one single move that everything is going to be decided upon. And this move will be done or executed while we, because I am Scorpio as well, Sun in Scorpio, are under a lot of pressure. Think of it that way. That will be a situation that is going to require us stepping outside of our comfort zone, and that's kind of like an understatement, right? And at that moment where everyone is freaking out, we will have to maintain our composure and make the tough, the difficult, if you want to call it that way, call, and take our chances or make a move. Well, actually, it's making a move, but it's going to look like taking our chances. In reality, there is nothing to be lost, and while the whole action, the whole move or a decision is going to look very, very risky, in reality, there is nothing that we are sacrificing. Making, that, taking that decision, or taking the step. It's more like a step, no different than exposing your emotions. It's been already decided. The person that you are saying, whether you like them or not, or that you are liking them, already had decided whether they want to be with you or not, because they either like you or not. So in reality, you aren't losing anything. The only thing that you are losing is the how can I the self-conviction, or the beguiling feeling that with time the stuff are going to resolve themselves on their own accord. If anything, this difficult decision or a difficult move is going to take us a one step further to accomplishing our real goal, and if you will, the dream we have. That move, though, is not going to face a lot of support from the people around. We can see it from that elemental dignity here, Six of Swords with Three of Cups. Only those that are truly supporting us, people that want to see us genuinely happy, are going to be those that are going to say, you know what, go for it. If that's what's going to make you happy, then so be it. The rest are going to be like, cheering up for themselves and asking us to make a compromise with ourselves so we can be in the comfort zone of their own liking. As a result of this move to a Scorpio, we will be able to gain a better grip on our lives and make things far easier to be faced in a sense of ups and downs on a daily basis. And to top it all off, is going to produce a means to take better care of ourselves, more free time, more money, depending on what this action concerns about you. So it's going to be definitely a win if we are brave and don't think twice when we have to make the tough call. Next is Sagittarius. Ooh-ha. All right, that's a great one. Four of Pentacles, Ace of Pentacles, and Three of Wands. So as a cumulative elemental dignity, Mercury retrograde is going to be an amazing transit for you Sagittarius, because that will be the 22 days through which you secure your stuff, you secure your job, or you secure your relationship, whatever you feel content about. And that is all that there is to say for these cards. And when you are done with the securing, by the way, through taking a precautionary measures, you're going to feel quite content where you stand, quite content with your relationship, for example, if that's what you are going to secure, quite content with the job you have secured, or with the place at work that you have secured. Whatever you are trying to ensure for your future is going to happen in the next 22 days. So I think that you, thus far, you are the biggest winner from the star signs, Sagittarius. And seriously, there is nothing more to be said about it, aside from that it's going to be easier than you are anticipating. Next, Capricorn, or I should say less of a challenge that you are anticipating. The Lovers, the Tower, and the Star. Massive one. Oh. Oh, I will need a minute and even more than that. This is a textbook, for example, a crush that you are suddenly going to have. I'm not saying that that's going to be the case, but that is one of the cases. This literally can relate to 1,000 things. But what is going to be common in between, among those thousand things, is that the event is going to be something you do not currently believe in. Like, you do not believe from the love of first sight, and bang, that's what takes place during Mercury retrograde. Or you don't believe, that you are going to win a lottery. Bang, again, that is what's going to take place. So think carefully what you do not believe in right now as a general aspect that can take place in your life. right? And this foundation of yours is going to be shook down, basically completely destroyed. And actually, you're going to see that isn't that bad, not bad at all. In fact, it fits perfectly with you, because once it happens, say you do not believe that you know, you can get yourself a better job than the one you're having right now, and so you're building your life around that job you're having right now, and a better job. And now you will have to start building your life from scratch around that better job, or you do not believe that you're going to move roots into into a different place, got excited a bit, into a different place, and you don't believe that you're going to feel comfortable anywhere else but the place you are living in right now, but you're going to have to move because of that better job, and you go to the new place in few days, move into the move, you recognize that it's simply better, and you're going to start rebuilding your life around that new place. So something of a sort, you know. And what is going to come up to your attention is that all the difficulties, doesn't matter how big or small they were thus far, was because of the build-up of your life around that stuff you are abandoning, or it had been completely destroyed by the universe. That was the thorn in your thigh. That was the Achilles heel of your life. For example, you may not believe that you can be happy with someone else than your ex-boyfriend or a girlfriend, and you end up having a crush, and that person starts making you happier, and in the process of that new relationship you recognize that all of the problems you had in your personal life was because of your previous relationship, but you couldn't see it because you were in love there. So that is the process you are going to undergo through Mercury retrograde, that is going to display to you the fallacy you are believing in thus far. And it's a massive fallacy. Next, Aquarius. That's a nice one. These are the cards for Aquarius. So what I really love about them are the Queen of Cups with the Ten of Wands. Um, uh, I am rising Aquarius, and that's why I'm smiling right now. My girlfriend is gonna love that. So what they're talking about is that within the next 22 days, due Mercury retrograde, is going to turn out that many of the stuff we think we are going to have to handle in order our concepts and our plans to take place and to become reality actually are going to happen to be quite unnecessary. In fact, it is because we think we will have to accomplish or live up to, you know, a certain criteria and certain standards. It is exactly why we are not be able to make a progress, right? And so that's is going to make our lives and our day-to-day routine far easier, more peaceful, and more exciting, and far more hopeful about the future. These are also this is specifically for the sun in Aquarius. These 22 days, also you sun in Aquarius, I am rising Aquarius, so that doesn't apply to me, but to the sun in Aquarius, you're gonna make friends, or you're gonna have the chance to make friends, real friends, friends that are not gonna bullshit you around, that are not gonna make you run their errands unless they really need you to, with a genuine can I put it to words, with a genuine intent. And this is where the other elements of dignity falls into place here. The Queen of Cups with Seven of Swords. It does represent that everything that you are going to do for each other throughout the next 22 days is going to have a meaning, right? It's going to have a meaning for both or for all of you. And while it's going to serve your agenda and it's going to serve your purpose, this mutual contribution is going to serve also their agenda and kind of like their goal and their purpose. So there is not going to be a single shred of a feeling in between you and your friends or your coworkers or you and your children, for example, or family members, that anyone is used in the situation. And whatever the misunderstandings, doesn't matter how big or small they were up until this point, are going to be clear. And everybody is going to be able to put themselves into the other person's shoes, walk a mile, 10 miles, whatever miles needed, come back from that trip and understand what you are going through. And you will be able to understand what the other side is going through. And through this understanding, you can really kind of sympathize and feel for each other. And the best thing I like about these cards, it is that any sensitive information you share, because you know there are times we kind of feel a burden of knowing and we need to share it with someone. So anything you share is going to be kept discreet. So this is going to be an amazing transit of Mercury for you Aquarius in terms of social and in terms of relationships. When it comes to job, again, when I smiled, it's all about, you know, the tasks and the responsibility and recognition that some of them completely unnecessary, and in fact they are the reason for not making a real progress into your deeds. All right, last but not least, that will be Pisces. These are Pisces cards: Page of Swords, Five of Cups, and Three of Cups. So again, I will need a minute here. There is a lot going on in between the interaction of these cards, but everything that is going on in between them can be brushed off basically. This is going to be as annoying as having a fly flying around your kitchen, you know, and you're trying to banish it off with handkerchief or any kind of you know, any kind of a compound against insects. So just as annoying, because next 22 days you're gonna face a lot of unnecessary opposition from your children. For example, you ask them to do something and they constantly ask why, and you know, asking you these questions that are completely unnecessary, which are going to annoy you, or having to kind of like synchronize your work with your colleagues, and they again are constantly asking questions and are giving suggestions that are simply put out of place. And at some point, you know, you're gonna start questioning, especially with the coworkers, whether you know you have signed up for the right team or not. So this is going to be a transit where you're going to start questioning your acquaintances and the associations you do have with a certain people, because they're going to prove to have a kind of the best way I can classify it is a crazy idea about the future, right? A crazy idea about the project you're currently working on, or about the friendship you're currently having with them. And so that is going to lead you to the thought that probably it's time to make a cleansing, or rather like a cleanup of your social circle and of your acquaintances. Now, some of you are going to make a move on it. Others, it's just going to be a thought for them. But alas, it will be something to keep you awake at night, at least to a certain extent, because it will carry on a pros and cons. Okay? And they both are going to be equally measured, and therefore the best thing you can do is not to make a move just yet, right? Not to make a move just yet. On the plus side, that is going to be a transit that you are never going to be alone. What I mean is that through the manifestation of Mercury retrograde, whenever you do need help, even in the most dire situations, help will be available to you from the most unexpected places. The person that you are on the knife's edge against up until this point is going to be the person that is going to help you. The help is going to come from the most unlikely places and the most unlikely people to help you in situations, but something is going to make them do so. That is, if you ask about it, and therefore you are always going to have someone to rely on. So that is going to do it for the 12. That was for Pisces. And now the super chat. Anyone who donated and is about to donate to the stream and to the channel is going to have a personalized reading right now. So first one, that's going to be Yasmin. Let me get the cards out, Yasmin. For personal readings. Give me a minute, Yasmin. These are your cards. Ace of Cups, Ten of Cups, and Eight of Swords. The most important thing for you is that you are gonna have one less, or what is gonna be the result of Mercury retrograde is that you're gonna have a one less quote unquote enemy after the transit. So it will affect a relationship or an interaction that you do have with a person you are not on a good terms with right now, or at the very least you do have a misunderstanding with currently. And the process of the next 22 days is going to be shrugging off or swiping under the rug. That is going to work for both of you. Think of it that way. It's quite difficult to describe it here. Think of it that way, and I'm just going to give you an example, but it doesn't have to apply to that very same subject. All right. Think of it like, for example, you do have a client that you both need each other, right? They need the company you're working for. Your company needs that client, but you just can't agree on the deal, either of you. They do have some, say, concepts that they need to cling on. Your company does have, again, some concepts and criteria that they need to cling on. And the next 22 days are going to be days in which, little by little, you and that client are going to come to terms by swiping stuff under the rug rather than agreeing on a middle ground, for a lack of better words here, right? It's like you will pretend that you know, your company isn't seeing their misconduct. They are going to pretend that your company is not doing misconduct, for example, and it's just everyone is going to be happy. If they're, for example, hiding income and you are working for, I don't know, IRS, it's kind of like turning a blind eye on it is going to produce you with a more income from their, say, for example, a legal things. That is just for example. It could apply to personal life as well, friends, you know, things that your friends are doing that you can't stand, and because you are raising your voice about it, it's kind of like making these friends, say, hate you, or addressing you in a bad term, or kind of like mistreating you in any way. Turning a blind eye on their, say, misconduct is going to provide you with their good graces, and in return you're also gonna be turned a blind eye on certain things you do they don't like, you know, and therefore you're going to give them your good graces as well. So this is kind of like a mutual compromise here, which at first is going to be quite difficult, but with time going forward is going to become easier and easier, to a point where it's going to become a second nature to either of the parties, to you and to the other party. So it's not going to be an easy process, but it's going to be a process that definitely is going to make things easier on you. And whatever problems you do have because of, say, that client, your spouse or a family member, it's simply they will simply going to disappear, and this newfound state of your relationship or a partnership with the person is going to be a state that you're going to simply love. You all are going to love it. It's more the way that I see it, it's more about accepting, all right? Accepting that this is just who he is or who she is, you know, and you can't do anything about it, right? So just pretend that it isn't happening, or just, you know, take it as their nature and just move on. That's what those cards are all about. Taco, thank you for the $22.22. Thank you, Taco. I do have one more before I conduct yours. So next one is going to be News Devon. Yeah, and the thing is, Yasmin, because Eight of Swords is neutral to the Ace of Cups, these quote unquote misconducts are not going to concern you directly. That is no different than, you know, seeing your friend or a friend of yours treating someone in a bad way because, for example, they do deserve it. And I'm going to give you an example with myself, and you guys may hate me for it, but that is my it's principle of mine. Okay. Um, well, I am in a. I simply, unless children are not involved, I do not judge, right? So basically, if there are two people who are hating each other, for example, I don't judge which is right and which is wrong. And for example, if your friend, Yasmin, if you do have a good friend that is addressing someone that you do like in a bad manner and that pisses you off, okay, turning a blind eye on it is going to improve significantly the friendship in between you and that person. And their relationship just doesn't concern you directly. You know, these are stuff which you aren't involved, but are still kind of like touching your personality. But you know, you can't turn a blind eye on when children are involved, you know, people mistreating children. Uh, and whenever there is some kind of a case like that, and the lawyer of the abuser say, well, my client has a right. No, he doesn't, or she, they don't. As soon as they have trampled the rights, the humanity of, you know, of a child, they lose every right under the sun whatsoever, in my book at least. And if I were a judge, I would have had a nickname. It would have been maximum sentence or death row or death row rod. It's just no mercy for that kind of people. Just no mercy whatsoever. All right. Next, News Devon. You're welcome, Yasmin. Okay, happy with that. Um, these are the cards. I do believe that we do have a romantic incentive with it, right? So that is the tarot card to the Lenormand reading, Ace of Pentacles. So throughout the next 22 days, News Devon, you will be, I will say it that way, you are going to be given a gift it will be some kind of a gesture. Someone may ask you out on a dinner or just give you flowers, whatever the case, but it will be a kind gesture, right? That you are going to be received, and that is going to be their last attempt to establish a connection with you. And kind of like to create a future for you both. It could be also the last attempt of your boss asking you, or not asking you, but offering you more money to stay at work if you are, for example, planning to quit your job. Just for example, right? But I do believe that there is a romantic incentive because your outer look is involved, your presence is involved. It is you who are special, and it is you because why you are getting the present, not because of your skill, not because of your knowledge, but because of how you look and how you behave. Okay, so that is what is coming your way: a gift, a present, a kind gesture with a hope, and it's going to be the final one from that individual, with a hope that is going to open up a future for you both. Right, and last but not least, that will be Taco. Oh yeah, sorry about that. Got carried away. Jennifer, thank you for the $8.08, which your YouTube ID now is Moon Honey. Good to know. Thank you, Jennifer. But yeah, Taco, you are now. Give me a moment here to open up the camera preview. All right, Taco, these are cards, the Lenormand cards. We do have the bear, the dog, and the coffin. It's pretty simple. A friendship is about to come to an end. So that is the most important and the most affecting thing which Mercury retrograde is going to manifest for you. These are the tarot cards, and they're showing the simple reason. It's pretty definitive here. That person is going to something is going to happen to them. In a sense, intellectual thing is going to happen to them, not a physical thing, and they will become very annoying and very touchy. Simply the fun talking with them, going out with them, cooperating with them will be sucked out, and instead of a fun, it what we'll feel, it's not just only annoyance, but also kind of like, I can't find the right word here, irritation, probably. Simply, you know, while previously you have laughed and kind of like joked with one another, you japed. Now every jape that you are saying, it's making them touchy, it's making them emotional, it's making them aggravated, right? And it's not fun talking and generally associating yourself with them. And therefore you're going to come to the conclusion, and it's pretty clear with the Death card and Page of Wands, that you're going to come to the conclusion that your time with that one is simply done, and is done for God. So that is what Mercury retrograde is going to cause to you, seeing the true state of an unnecessary friendship you are having, or acquaintance as well, because with the Page of Wands, that is not of a big of a friendship. It's just a friendship that had provided something for you, and now you're gonna have to find another place where that a commodity must come from. That is yeah, it's definitely a friend. It's not someone close, it's not a family member, it's not your wife, it's a friend, or someone that you do consider a friend, you know, like not that close though, like I said. No a wife or a father, it's a friend. All right, Jen, your turn now. So you have a specific inquiry, let me take a look at it. All right. Jennifer, that will be, it will be a very difficult endeavor. The book is almost done. It's it's 3/4 done, and even more than that. I do have one suit left. Okay, the suit of Pentacles. Everything else, it's written down. It's currently almost 400 pages, A4 format. That is a big format. You know, it's that is not A4, but it's no, I don't have. Uh, it's like a white sheet of paper that the lawyers are carrying around, so it's quite of a massive undertaking. Okay, but to translate it into English, I can do the translation. The thing is that English, as it's obvious, it's not my it's not my native language. So if even though I can speak it freely, I am very bad at grammar. I didn't have a one single lesson into grammar. Everything that I say and the grammar that I'm using, I do use intuitively through listening to audiobooks and kind of like watching videos, movies, and whatnot. And you know, you can recognize mistakes that I'm making here. Okay. Uh, but in order to have a translation, I do need an English editor. And I first have to see how well the book is gonna do, because I do have a Bulgarian editor. It's my girlfriend, actually. And I have to see how well the book is going to do on this on the Bulgarian market and amongst the Bulgarians, and if it sells well and I can kind of like allocate resources I'm going to get from it. Maybe I'm going to use maybe I'm going to invest into English translation. Yeah, but the editor is going to ask for money. That's my point. And considering the load is not going to be a small amount of money, and I will need to ensure that the book is going to see the wide world. So before I actually give the work to an editor, I need to secure a publisher. That's first, because what good it is having an edited book if no one wants to publish it, right? This is your tarot card. What you need to know, Jennifer, is that in the next 22 days, you will accomplish um, improvement into your physical well-being. Thank you. Thank you, Jennifer. So you need to know that you will accomplish improvement into your physical well-being through circumventing some kind of a procedure, some kind of treatment, you know. And under circumventing, I do mean probably having a second opinion, being given a more customized advice to your physical well-being than the generalized one that you may have been given from, you know, a dedicated specialist beforehand. So that will be 22 days where you're going to have a more accustomed, again, procedure, treatment, diet, workout plan, and whatnot. That will significantly, again, improve in a long term your physical well-being. You're going to take better care, or rather, someone is going to take better care for you. That is what you need to know. All right, guys and girls, that's gonna do it for tonight. Now, thank you so much for watching, and we are going to see each other Sunday. What we do have for Sunday? Hold on a second. Sunday's first. No, yeah, it's first. Um, it's the full moon. It's the total lunar eclipse that takes place in Virgo. Right. So yeah, we're gonna see each other Sunday. Thank you so much for watching, and also thank you so much for your generosity. And we're gonna see each other then. And until then, bye.